Where's my lid? Where is my lid? I need my lid. I'll use this as a lid. I'll use this as a lid. Oh, look what I grabbed as a lid. It says Yellowstone Staff 2024. What is this, a lanyard? Is that what they call this? The thing that goes around your neck? Hangs there. That's what it is. It does. Hey, it's a lanyard. But today we're not going to use it as a lanyard. Oh no. Because I don't really know the point of a lanyard. I mean, maybe to keep stuff in here. Keep our ID or something. Maybe when we're going for hikes. Maybe it's kind of a neat souvenir, though. You know, I got cool memories from going to Yellowstone. For anybody that doubts my story, this truly will put their mind at ease. Although it really wouldn't. And that's what I've learned. Because if you got somebody that wants to doubt your story, good morning, Josh Ogrand, they're going to doubt it. And they're going to doubt it. So it just doesn't even really do any good trying to explain it to them. So just don't. Stop explaining yourself. Stop trying to prove yourself. At the same time, stop trying to change other people. It's weird because I think my show's generally about like self-improvement. But at the same time, it's also about accepting life and being okay. Which is kind of, I don't know if the word's paradox, but it kind of feels like it is a paradox a little bit. Because if we're okay with things and we forgive ourselves and we are content with where we are, why do we keep pushing or keep getting better or keep improvement or self-improvement at all? I don't know. Somehow, maybe, as I search for the answers, kind of maybe it's the same way as this. I'm searching for the answer, but also realizing there is no answer. Ooh. 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 I was just about to say, I hope I'll figure it all out while I'm still here. And I remembered maybe there's no answer. There's no way to figure it out. There's no solution. It's not a puzzle. You don't gather all the money. You don't get in perfect shape. You don't achieve the greatest level of success. You don't become CEO and suddenly go, hey, I've done it all. I have done it all. I don't know. Good morning, Daily. Hello, everything's impermanent. Hello, Dunkin' Oil. And good morning, good morning, good morning to you. My name is Ken Tracy, and this is Coffee with Ken. It is Sunday morning. It is November 10th. It's 5:06 a.m. Happy Sunday. Hold on here. Gotta get a little more comfortable. I love being a man. Happy I'm a man. I'm sure it would be good if I was a woman. I'm sure if I was a woman, I'd love being a woman. It's hard to imagine because I'm a man. But one of the downsides of being a man is sometimes things kind of get folded up. a little uncomfortable. You got to get them just the way they need to be, if you know what I'm saying. But anyway, it's Sunday morning. It is November 10th. It is 5:06 a.m. Happy Sunday. And Sandra Lynn, I wish I would have never found out what Sandra Lynn looks like. I preferred her as a mystery. Now I know what she looks like, and she lives in my town. And I kind of know roughly where she lives. And I was just talking about the downside of being a man is when things get folded up. And you have to get them straightened out. Now I'm going to be walking down the street, happy as a clam, downtown Naperville, and there she's going to be. And I'm going to think of the fact that I talked about being uncomfortable because certain parts were folded up this morning. That is the downside. But anyway, again, it's Sunday morning, and happy Sunday to you. This is a show I have been doing for 5.5 years, just about. 5 years and 5 months, I think. And it is a show about me talking. And it is a show about me sharing some feelings, sharing a little bit about the ups and downs of life, sharing the lessons I learned on my path to tomorrow. Kind of like the way that sounds. Sounds like I like to dream that I'm going to write a book someday. Path to tomorrow. I don't know if that goes with my basic philosophy on life or not. Because we're supposed to be living in the moment. We're supposed to be living in the moment. I'll tell you what, I woke up a few minutes ago and I wasn't living in the moment. I'm going, holy crap, my legs are tired. My feet are tired. I worked late last night. Until about 10. I work as a waiter in downtown Naperville at a pretty nice restaurant. It was a busy shift, and I started at 3, and I worked till just about 10. And I know 7 hours isn't going to sound like a long shift to most of you that maybe work 9 to 5 and then some. But I'm 56, and I was standing on my feet, and I was hustling around the restaurant for 6 or 7 hours last night. And near the end, my feet were tired. My feet were tired. Got home, laid in bed for a while, woke up a couple times through the night going, holy crap, I opened this morning. I get to be in at 10:45. Thank you, Jamie. I get to be in at 10:45 this morning. And that's using my best mental trickery, saying I get to be in at 10:45. Instead of saying I gotta be there. And I'll tell you what, mental trickery has gotten me through some hard times. And this isn't exactly one of those. I'm living in relative luxury and have a job, have a car, have a roof over my head, and feel relatively at peace. But I think when we struggle with anxiety and an anxious mind, we find something to worry about. And this morning's worry is my feet and my legs, and will I be able to survive the morning shift? I prayed about it. I was grateful for things this morning, and then I prayed a little bit about it. God looked down at me and said, well, you're not even going to be going to church. Should you be praying, young man? And I go, well, I'm sorry, God, I get to go to work at 10:45. Yes, I can be praying, right? He goes, I was just joking with you. You're going to make it through your shift. You're going to be okay. And so I got up and started my coffee, even at this crazy early hour on this Sunday morning. And here I am talking to you. Chugger, no church today. No church today. I work at 10:45. I could go to the 9 o'clock service and run right out and head over to work. But I think I'm going to see if a shoe store, there's a shoe store in Naperville called DSW. It's like Discount Shoe Warehouse or something like that. They offer pretty good prices on shoes. And they also text me repeatedly. They also text me repeatedly talking about their sales that they have. And I don't know. And they probably have sales every day, but since tomorrow's Veterans Day, they're having a Veterans Day sale. And they're offering 20% off their shoes. And I could use a new pair of shoes. Because I bought these maybe 7 months ago now, which probably isn't a crazy length of time to be wearing shoes, but they're tennis shoes, they're black, so they work with the waiter outfit. And the tread on them is getting fairly worn. And it's not the tread that concerns me, it's the cushiony support that the shoe may offer. And after you wait tables, I don't know, maybe 30 hours a week for 7 months, and also wear the shoes around regular life, I think the cushion gives way. At least either the cushion's given way or my bones are given way. And I'd like to think the cushion is given way and not my feet and my bones. I'm sure the age of my feet and my bones does not help. But these are the only feet I know. I can't get new feet. I don't want to get new feet. I love you, feet. You've been through everything with me. Sorry, sometimes you don't only pray to God, you also talk to your feet. You have been through everything with me. You have been kicked. Actually, you've not been kicked. You've done some kicking. You've done a whole lot of running. I used to be a marathoner. You've fallen, you tripped. I love you, feet. Thank you, Lord, for my feet. So that was praying and talking to my feet all rolled into one. But anyway, for those that have been watching a while, this is not just a show about me talking. It's also a show about me sharing my love of coffee. And with that in mind, I've got a nice hot cup of coffee at this early hour on this Sunday morning. And my hope is wherever you are, whatever you are doing, you got a hot cup of coffee in front of you as well. Cheers to us. It's the cinnamon. I don't want to say the same story I do every morning, but it tastes good. But I'm somewhat skeptical of it every time because it's the Frederick's coffee. It's not the Starbucks that I'm used to. Just drink it. Thank you for my coffee. I wonder how many steps I take in a day, said Chugger. I don't know. I'll tell you what, when I was working at Yellowstone, I'm fortunate now, though. I work in a smaller restaurant, and the distance from the kitchen to the furthest table is fairly not that far. And the distance from the bar to tables is not that far. But I will tell you what, when I was working in Yellowstone, it had huge square footage. It was a giant restaurant. And the bar was on one corner, and the section, you could have a section on the far corner. I'm trying to guess. It was probably, I don't know, maybe it was only 50 yards or something. Maybe it wasn't even that, but I think that it was. It was huge. It was a giant restaurant, and the bar was on one section, and if you had to go get a beer or a glass of wine, you had to go all the way over here and then all the way back for a beer or a glass of wine. Or run in from the kitchen. And where I work now, we don't use trays. We only carry 2 plates at a time. And where I was working before, they piled the trays high. And I think just for that sake, there's a lot less stress where I'm at, because although I've never dropped a loaded tray, you're always afraid. You're always afraid because you're carrying a heavy tray of hot food. Sometimes they were putting the lids on them and they'd stack them up like 2 or 3 high. I mean, I'm 56. I got aches and pains. My shoulder's not what it used to be. You're going through swinging doors. You got people buzzing all around, and you're carrying this tray through a crowded restaurant. Yeah, it feels better to be in a smaller restaurant where you're just carrying 2 plates. Sometimes I feel I could juggle them. Look how easy this is. Look how easy this is. Sandra Lynn wants to know how my breakfast was with my friend. It was great. It was great. I hadn't seen him much since I've gotten back from Yellowstone. He's one of my best friends. Was best man at his wedding probably 30 years ago now, maybe more. And I hadn't seen him in a while. It was nice. He was excited about my car. We took it for a little spin afterwards. And again, he and I have both he's does pretty well for himself, but he still was excited for me and my little Kia Soul. Took it for a ride, and it was great. Food was great. Conversation was great. It was great catching up, and great seeing my buddy. Sean says that had to be kind of cool working and living in Yellowstone. That must have been an experience. Sean, it certainly was an experience. I am so happy I did it, but, it's a great story for me to be able to tell, and a great experience. And I rode my scooter from Chicago to Yellowstone, which is like 1,350 miles. And it was thrilling and terrifying all at once. And I had, I don't know how many semi-trucks passed me as I'm terrified on the right side of the road, going, I'm scared, I can't go 90 miles an hour. Here they come. And the weather was getting colder as I rode west. And it was a neat experience, and it was beautiful scenery. But personally, for me, and it was a great step in my life because I needed it. I didn't know I could wait tables at this time. I had done it before, and I knew I had I knew I was pretty good at it, but I hadn't done it in 10 years. And again, it's a lot more physical than people know, and you're on your feet and you're moving around and this and that. And I was able to do it on very little sleep, working full-time plus in Yellowstone, and make some good money at it. And that felt nice. And it gave me the confidence that I could do it here. Again, I was a stockbroker. I was a realtor. I have a college degree, but I don't have corporate levels of working my way up from, I don't know, here to here to here to here to here to here to become vice president of some division of something and get hired in that same role or a slight promotional role at a different corporation or move up the ladder. I just don't. I have sales experience, and yeah, I think sales is one of the most valuable skills. But I don't know. I haven't found it really easy finding a high-paying non-sales job. And for better or worse, waiting tables can be reasonably high-paying. It's physical and it's tiring and it's mentally draining, but it can be fairly high-paying. The last couple of days, I did really well. I can't retire really well, but cover my bills really well. Good morning from Detroit. Ken, what sports did I play growing up and in high school? Well, in high school, I ran cross country and track, and I actually walked on to the college track and cross country team and ran there as well. I've run a bunch of marathons. I'm from a running family, and to quote to quote Bruce Springsteen, maybe we were born to run. Not really. I don't know that I loved running. I don't know that you can love running. I think certain people love running. I just happen to be pretty good at it. And I figured, well, let's do a sport I'm good at and I can win races. But dang, training hurts and running hurts. Running's tiring. But that's what I did. But growing up, I did what most kids did. I played baseball and organized. I was never that good at baseball, but I was pretty good at football. And I think I could have probably played competitive football at a decent level. I had a pretty good arm and I could throw a football real well. But I was never that great at baseball and pretty good at sports, I'd say. I mean, I'm 6'2", 200 pounds now. I mean, I wasn't 6'2", 200 pounds growing up. But I don't know. I've always been reasonably athletic, although I mean, I say that, but I never played that much basketball, and I think about how horrible I was at basketball. I mean, I was fairly okay because I was 6'2", so I was of some use. I could guard the tall guy, but if you give me the ball and we're trying to run a fast break, you don't want to give me the ball. You don't want to give me the ball really at all. You just want me. And I'm only 6'2", 200, so when I say a big body down low, I might be a big body down low in a pickup game, but not in a high school, college, pro game type of way. Do I claim my cash tips? Well, I got $15 in cash tips. They're so few last night. They're so few and far between. There's not even an option to claim them. When I was working in Yellowstone, as we were checking out every time, you had to claim your cash tips. But there's not even a button on the checkout computer that says claim your cash tips today. Played organ. Never played organ. I never wore helmets and stuff, but we played in the neighborhood every day, pretty much. So yeah, just not organized football, just in the neighborhood. Do I like 80s pro wrestling? It was funny because I went to breakfast with my buddy yesterday and we talked about it because he's my age. We were in grade school together. And, I grew up in a town called Downers Grove in Illinois. And hey, my Venmo's on somebody said need to give my Venmo. If you guys want to Venmo me money, I think my Venmo account may be on my TikTok profile. I grew up in Downers Grove, Illinois, that has a very famous professional wrestler who grew up there as well, not far from where I lived, named Randy Macho Man Savage. And he had a brother named Leapin' Lanny Poffo. I mean, these weren't their real names. Offhand, I can't even think of what their real names were. I'll think about it in a minute, but two pro wrestlers were from Downers Grove. And Randy, somehow the subject came up yesterday, and I was talking to my buddy. I don't understand it at all. I don't understand how people really watch pro wrestling at all. At all. Maybe if I was like a 7-year-old, and I think it's neat, but it's a huge sport, and I don't understand how it is at all. At all. I'm not saying they're not big and strong and good athletes because they can do flips off the ropes and stuff, but it's I just don't get it at all. Yeah, Denise Richard. She did till like 7th grade, and then she went out to L.A. Oh, it was Poffo. That's Leapin' Lanny Poffo. There you go. That's maybe why Leapin' Lanny kept his last name. Sandra Lynn says your husband went to the same high school. Oh, Downers Grove North, Sandra Lynn? Anyway. Let's see. Somebody asked who my favorite pro wrestler was. I mean, I would have to say either Hulk Hogan or Andre the Giant. But that's only because I'm not a huge fan. And those are the biggest names in wrestling. I know there's others. There's The Undertaker and there's The Rock. But honestly, that's all I can think of. That is all I can think of. Nikki said, can I be a mod? We're Facebook friends now. Are we Facebook friends, Nikki? Ric Flair, yeah, he had blonde hair. Nikki, why would you want to be a mod? I'm worried. A lot of times, I have people hopping on sometimes saying mean things on my live streams. And so I have some moderators just to keep the conversation civil and nice and friendly. But I think sometimes I'll appoint a moderator, and I think their role almost changes in my show in a way I don't want it to change. And I understand why it does, because suddenly they have power to pin things and mute things and feel they should comment a lot and welcome people and I don't know, just have a bigger role, honestly, than I don't really, to be honest, I don't want a partner on my show. For those that are old enough that remember Johnny Carson, he had Ed McMahon, and a lot of talk show hosts have kind of sidekicks. I don't want a sidekick in terms of a moderator. I just want somebody to keep the airwaves clean a little bit. And I think a lot of times moderators start feeling they're part of the show and they pin comments and maybe engage more than I want them to. Yeah. So I struggle with it a little bit, and I appreciate the work that they do because, again, they don't get paid for it. But I don't want them to do that. I had a woman that follows me, and she used to be the silent hammer because she would moderate. But then I talked to her about growing this, and I think maybe she misunderstood the role, or maybe I misexplained it that I wanted her to have on it, and started taking more of an active role than I wanted. Because honestly, this has got to be my show, and I don't want any partners, because it's me waking up every morning talking coffee, and I don't want to feel that anybody is a sidekick in my show. I just don't. Cheers to you, truly. Leroy Brown asked if I'm looking to get married again. I'm certainly not looking to get married again. I wouldn't rule it out. I've been married twice. I have 4 beautiful children. I think 4 is enough. Will I ever get married again? I don't know. Well, thank you, Nikki. Will I ever get married again? I don't know. I mean, I haven't been on a date in I don't even know how long. It's funny, I work in a restaurant. A lot of nice-looking women in Naperville. And a lot of groups of women go just by the nature of the restaurant. But right now, I'm kind of content doing what I'm doing and going where I'm going. And maybe, like a moderator, I'm not ready for a partner in life. Maybe I'm not ready for a partner in life because what I'm doing in life is a struggle. But it's a struggle that I'm willing to do because it's my path. And right now, my path is not a glorious path filled with vacations and beaches and diamonds and fancy dinners out. And not that a wife or a partner needs that, you know. But some probably want that and deserve it, and I'd like to give it to them. But right now I'm living in an extended stay. I just bought a car this week. Would have been hard to go on dates riding a scooter. You know, money's tight, and my focus is work on myself and getting in a better financial position and seeing my kids more right now. And it would have to be a very sharing woman and a generous woman that would be willing to, or a very busy woman maybe, that would be able to maybe participate in what I'm going through. Because again, I worked till 10 o'clock last night. And I'm going to the restaurant at 10:45. I think it's hard dating as a waiter. Waiting's not my long-term plan at all. But I think it'd be hard. You know, you'd have to date another waiter. Yeah. So. Stop says, my devotion and dedication is admirable. I appreciate you saying that, and thank you. But a little bit, I'd like to pat myself on the back, but I just don't know what choice there really is for me. You know, I can either quit and pack up, quit. And I'm telling you, I've seen quitting firsthand, and it's not pretty, and it doesn't leave a good imprint on the world. And I don't want to do that. So every morning I wake up, a lot of mornings I go, oh crap. This morning I did. Working on like 5 hours of sleep and a little scared that my feet are going to fall off at the restaurant. But my feet probably won't fall off at the restaurant. And I'll get through my work, and maybe I'll have a great shift. I'll make a lot of money. Maybe I'll get cut early, and who knows? I could meet the love of my life today at work. You know, you don't know what the future holds. So I don't know. I think it's best. And again, so much of my life I've spent afraid of what the future holds. But right now I feel pretty excited about what the future holds. And I'll tell you what, buying the car this week, I think put my mind at ease in a whole bunch of different ways. Because I was going to do what I had to do. But what I had to do was harder. It was hard emotionally because I wasn't able to go pick up my kids. But it was hard in every way because as much as I love my scooter, it's getting cold and it's rainy out there. And it's not that glorious riding as the weather drops. Nikki asked, do I ever go on the Four Lakes page anymore? No, I don't, Nikki. I mean, it's there. I still run it officially. But I don't do anything with it. No, Leroy, I haven't. Hello, Robert Patrick. One day you'll have a big announcement that you can share on your show. We can't wait to hear it. Chugger, I don't even know what that big announcement will be. Stop Obsolete said, doesn't my restaurant offer full-time work? It's funny, I started to chuckle at it. Can I get a little more coffee? I'm going to go get a little more coffee. Hold on, hang with me. Ooh. Stop Obsolete asks, doesn't my restaurant offer full-time work? I bet you Stop Obsolete's never worked in a restaurant. You know, I bet you've never worked in a restaurant. I mean, most restaurants aren't open all day. Even the breakfast ones, they're only open in the morning, and a lot of restaurants are only open at night. Only some restaurants even have lunch service. I mean, you could get full-time work at McDonald's. I don't think I'd look good in their uniforms, though. But you work pretty intensely, and it's a pretty intense work when it's busy. And I was busy 6 or 7 hours last night, and at the end, my feet and legs and brain were pretty tired, and I was ready to be done, and it felt good. Well, Stop Obsolete saying more hours. Again, when there's slow times, when there's slow periods, there's a lot of people that want shifts. And I was working more than 40 hours a week right in early August because a bunch of kids went back to college, and I got hired, and they put me on almost every day because they needed it. But they knew they can't. I'd say no, it's almost hard for a restaurant to put somebody on 40 hours a week because they need enough staff where they have a surplus of staff, if that makes sense to you, where if somebody calls in sick, they can still operate their restaurant. And I think their fear is if they give anybody 40 hours a week, and this, they have to have a surplus of staff so they can have somebody filling in as necessary. And if they had, say, 6 waiters full time, they'd rather have 15 working 30 hours a week. And I'm just making up the numbers just so they can fill the gaps a little bit easier. Have I ever thought of training behind the bar? No, not really. I don't want to work behind the bar. I don't even really want to work in a restaurant long term. I don't want to work in a restaurant long term. You should shout yourself out on the page. So many love you. Well, Nikki, I appreciate that. In 4 Lakes, you mean? I was a realtor forever. And for those that are watching that aren't from the area, I lived in a little subdivision, a beautiful subdivision called 4 Lakes. And it's in Lisle, which is between my hometown of Downers Grove and where I live now of Naperville. And it's named 4 Lakes because it's got 4 lakes, and it's got hills and trees and a little ski hill in it. And it's made up of maybe 3,000 different condos. And I used to sell a lot of condos in there because it's a very hard neighborhood to learn with a bunch of different associations and a bunch of different windy streets. And if you don't know where to park, you're going to get lost as a new realtor. So I was kind of the expert on the neighborhood, if you will. And I built a group called 4 Lakes on Facebook, and have a bunch of people that follow that group and comment about 4 Lakes issues on that group. And I used to moderate it and put my real estate marketing stuff on it. And really, I've kind of let it go over the last few years because I'm not a realtor anymore. Nikki said it's been her favorite place she's ever lived. I could see that, Nikki. I think I was there long enough. I was there 3 or 4 years after my first divorce, and I partied too hard and went out too often and drank too much and laid by the pool too much. But it's an amazingly cool, fun, vibrant place. And I've often said if I had all the money in the world, I would buy the whole property up and do something really cool with it. I mean, it's really cool as it is, but it's just a beautiful piece of land. Again, that you don't see in the western suburbs of Chicago. It feels like you're in Michigan a little bit when you go in the roads and you're in there, because again, it's hilly and there's trees all over, and there's even a ski hill, which is crazy. because Illinois is one of the flattest states. Chugger asked, what was the most expensive house I ever sold? It might have been like 700 grand. I never sold any really crazy expensive home. I sold a lot of lower priced homes. My buddy always said, hell, you should sell more expensive homes. Believe me, I didn't say no to selling expensive homes. I just happened to live in 4 Lakes, and I probably averaged maybe one sale in 4 Lakes a month, which was a good kind of baseline, something I could kind of count on almost, and then gather any other sales I could. Have I ever been to St. Louis? Yes, I have. Sandra Lynn says that was a great bar 20 years ago. You always went. I still might be a great bar. I haven't been in a couple of years, but it still might be a great bar. Yeah, they have a bar at the called Base Camp. That was a cool bar, and might still be, probably is, at the bottom of the hill. I'll tell you, it's not only the ski hill that's neat about 4 Lakes. They got volleyball courts, and they've got great fishing, and you can free rental of these paddle boats or rowboats, and the swimming pools are free, and they've got tennis courts. It's really an amazing area. Did I ever go to Maple Avenue Pub in Lisle? I've probably been there, I don't know, maybe 3 times. Maybe 3 times. Yeah. Yeah. I think 4 Lakes gets a lot of divorced guys from the western suburbs. The guys that are cast out from their homes and their families and don't know what to do, so they end up there. And I think for me and a lot of guys there, we're probably lonely and drown our sorrows or do certain things to excess that maybe we shouldn't, but maybe we need to. Laura asked, how was my job interview? I feel a little bad about this. I posted most of my videos, for anybody watching, most of my videos are clips from these live videos I do. And I go live every morning here on TikTok, and I usually talk for about an hour while I'm drinking some coffee. And I edit all these live videos, and I post them as shorts and reels and TikToks and various social media platforms. And I think for me, it helps with my authenticity of my videos. If you watch one of my shorts or a TikTok, let's say, and it's just me talking. It's not me going, okay, I'm going to talk about sobriety today or 4 Lakes or waiting tables. It's me just talking, like a conversation. So I think it comes out very raw and authentic. And yeah, I posted a video yesterday about a phone interview I had, but the video was a clip from a live I did a month ago. And I just thought the subject matter and my attitude about it was interesting. I wasn't trying to titillate the audience with some job offer or some interview, really. It was just, I think my perspective about the interview itself was interesting and worth a video. And I had so many people wishing me good luck. And I felt a little bad about that. And I tried to write a comment explaining what the video was about. But again, a lot of people didn't see it, and I had so many people wishing me luck. And to be honest, I'll tell you how the phone interview went. It was for a car sales position, and I was kind of curious. And I think I'm not sure the reality or the opportunity that is in car sales. I think if there was a true opportunity there, I think I could really knock the cover off the ball. But I think car sales is probably an extremely high turnover job. And I think people make a lot less money than most people think. And it's probably like real estate in a lot of ways, that only the top 5% probably do pretty well and the rest are really struggling. And I was talking to the guy that called about a month ago, and I was trying to explain this to him, and he didn't get what I meant. And he probably thought I was weak or not a good salesman or not confident or not aggressive. And maybe I am weak, not confident, not aggressive, and not a good salesman, but I think that I am. But if you give me a product that is sellable, I think my experience in sales, a lot of positions in sales that are strictly commission are almost a pipe dream. And you'll be hired for it. And yes, you have huge upside, but if you're not in the top 5 or 10%, you're going to be in some trouble. And I'm not at a point right now to be in trouble. I got a job. I make decent money. It's not what I want to do long term, and not maybe what I physically can do long term. But I went in, I worked, I made a good amount of money last night. And in car sales, I could go in and not make anything. And yeah. Laura said the referrals can be fantastic if you stay and build things up. I wonder if you mean car sales or real estate. Either way, I don't think, I would bet most car salesmen can't afford the cars they are selling, and most real estate agents can't afford the homes they are selling either. And that was my experience. What's the best job to get at 21? I could think of a few. I don't think waiting tables would be a bad job to get at 21. I think it always gives you an opportunity to explain how you hustled and how it was sales and how it was customer serviced and how it was working as a team in any interview you have coming down the pipeline. I think talking about a restaurant job is great experience because you got to work hard, you got to hustle, and you're kind of an entrepreneur. So I think that would be a good job. Another great job I think you could do at 21 is learn a trade. If you are handy, and I'm not handy, I don't know how to fix anything, and I think some people click with certain things better than others, and fixing things isn't my strength. But if you're handy at all, I think learning a trade, becoming an electrician or a plumber or a carpenter, they make good money. And I think they're always going to be in demand. They're always going to be in demand. So learning a trade, I think, would be great. Be an apprentice carpenter or an apprentice electrician or an apprentice plumber. Holy smokes. I think they make good money and have great benefits. And I think it would feel like you are doing something important every day because you're building something. And that's got to be a great feeling. Am I the most tenured waiter at my restaurant? No, not at all. Not at all. I've only been there 3 months. Good morning, Captain Kenny. Well, thank you, Captain Kenny. Hey, somebody sent me a rose. Thank you so much for sending me a rose. I appreciate that. That's fun. Well, we got a lot of people hopping on. What other good jobs? Again, I think a trade, waiter. For me, I would say if you plan to do the corporate thing, I don't think you can get started early enough. But I would have struggled working in a corporation and working my way up. I don't think that's who I am. So I don't think I could do it. But I'll tell you what, you get started and you work your way up a corporation. You can be fairly well set, but I think, again, a trade, I think waiting tables would be great jobs at 21. You wait tables, you're making $300 a night or something like that, at a normal restaurant. That's going to be a lot. That might be more, money than your college graduating friends are making. Would I suggest working for Zanta for a 21-year-old? Well, I think you got to want it. If you're lost and you don't, Zanta, somebody asked, if I would suggest working for Zanta. Zanta is the company that hired me when I went out to Yellowstone. And I worked at Yellowstone as a waiter, and I lived in Yellowstone, which very few people can say they've done. And it was beautiful, and there were bears, and there were moose, and I didn't see any. I saw a ton of buffalo and elk and mountains and tourists and rivers and waterfalls. And I saw Old Faithful. And I did a really cool video about Old Faithful. I think I was doing this show, this very show, out in front of Old Faithful. And I was talking just like I'm talking now. And I started hearing some hissing behind me. And I turned around, and the camera caught it, and Old Faithful was just erupting in the background. And I just kind of watched quietly. It was a neat video. It was a quiet video, but it was neat. So what I suggested for somebody that's 21, if you have absolutely no idea what you want to do, and you want to see a national park, and you want to work hard, and you need money, and you got to pay bills, I think it's a great job for anybody, 21 or 71. There's a lot of retirees that work there. There's a lot of younger people in their 20s that work there. I don't think it's for everybody, for sure. And I don't even think it's for me. It was good. I'm glad I did it, but I was lonely out there. I hate to say it, bored living in Yellowstone. I was either in my dorm trying to sleep, or in the cafeteria trying to eat, or at the restaurant working. And besides that, I didn't know what to do. If I had any free time, I got out of the park, because I like hustle and bustle, and I like people. And although Yellowstone has 4.5 million visitors each year, the conversation you have with tourists that are just passing through tend to be about what bears, did they see a bear? And I like people living their lives. I like families pushing strollers, kids going to school, businesses and opportunities. I tell you what, when I was in Yellowstone, there's no businesses out there. There's nobody to interview with. There's no, but it's cool if you're, in a lot of ways, it was really cool. Did I see any bear? I did. Not up close. Although there were bears up close. They actually had to put one down that broke into a building right next to mine and was found in the kitchen. It had been kind of gotten a little too friendly with humans. Not friendly, but not afraid of. And we was at Mammoth Hot Springs Hotel, and there was a town right down below, and the grizzly was going in to the garbages and was just getting too close to the community, and they put it down, which is kind of sad because they're beautiful animals, but you can't have a bear in your kitchen for very long. Was my goal to live there forever? No, it was a seasonal job. I was supposed to be there 5 months. I was only there 2. I needed to get back for my kids, and I needed for me as well. I missed a lot. It was great for the money. I'll tell you what, you're very little to spend your money on, especially if you don't drink alcohol. I mean, there's no stores. What are you going to spend your money on? Your food and your housing is $500 a month in Yellowstone when you're working for Zanta. And as a waiter, I was making, I don't know, $5,000 to $6,000 a month. So my checks after taxes and after housing were still $2,000 or something like that. And I didn't have anything to spend the money on outside of sending child support checks. So the money was great. But living in a dorm at 56, I'll tell you what, it sounds first world problems. Hold on. I didn't have a coffee maker in my room. You know I don't like that. I was on the second floor and the men's bathroom was on the first. And I got to go to the bathroom a couple times during the night. But waking up at 3 a.m, knowing you have to get your PJs on or whatever, and then walk downstairs to go to the washroom, I didn't like it all. I didn't like it all. I don't like community bathrooms or common bathrooms. Somebody said it sounds like a great job for someone who needs to save and focus for 5 months. It's an amazing job. And again, I was a waiter, but you can do all sorts of things at these national parks. They run the business like Old Faithful's, and there's like 5 or 6 areas in Yellowstone that most tourists are going to go to. And one of them was Mammoth Hot Springs on the northern edge. And they have a hotel, and they have a restaurant, and they have a little tiny store and a little tiny gas station. And they need people to change the sheets in the hotel and to run the restaurant and to manage the hotel and security and maintenance. And they need a little bit of everything there. And I was fortunate to be a waiter there because we made a good amount of money. And we're busy all the time. It was crazy. You know, there's slow times in restaurants out here. But in Yellowstone or probably any other national park, there's no competition. You know, if you want to eat, you had to go to my restaurant. And so people went. And we were busy. Somebody asked what's Xanterra. Just for the record, it's spelled with an X, Xanterra. And if anybody's curious about getting a job, needs a place to live. I know there's a lot of people struggling to put a roof over their head these days and to feed themselves. And the economy's been tough. And I think this is a great opportunity for somebody that's struggling or wants to live in a national park and check it out. You know, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's amazing. You know, you're living in the mountains. It's pretty cool. But again, it's Xanterra jobs.com if anybody's curious. And I think it was an amazing experience for me. And it's, you know, I was lonely and there was a lot of lonely times there. But I think financially it was great. And experience-wise, it was great. But I like hustle and bustle and communities and coffee shops and various opportunities. I love that I could go 3 miles away and look at cars. You know, I'm a big dreamer. I like to think about dreaming about buying a home or buying a car or meeting the woman of my dreams. And none of that was going to happen in Yellowstone because there are no houses, there are no car dealerships, and the women that come through are usually married and they're only there for a few days. So it was hard to dream there because you kind of felt like you were in a work camp, and in some ways we were. But it was a great experience, and I don't mean to downplay it at all. I think it'd be completely awesome for some people. But it's certainly not for everybody. If you love hiking, if you really, and don't just think, oh, I like nature because I like animals. I like nature. I like animals. I like mountains. But I'll tell you what, there's no place like home. And for me, Yellowstone wasn't home. It was a place to work and a place to keep a roof over my head and be fed and to build my confidence. Daly, no. Daly said it's probably got plenty of women on just divorced contemplating new husbands. No, I wouldn't say. there are not many groups of women that go through Yellowstone. It's just not what it attracts. It's not what it attracts at all. So, anyway. Let's see. What is going on? What is going on? How long have I talked? Should have talked for like an hour. I don't even feel I had much to say. I don't feel I even had much to say. And I've talked for an hour. Sunday morning. Just finishing up my coffee. And I've already talked for an hour. Maybe that's enough. Maybe it was just right. Do I work today, Chip? Yeah, I get to go to work at 10:45. I get to work at 10:45. Daly wants to know what my PR in the marathon was. It was 2 minutes, 2 hours and 43 minutes and 27 seconds. That was my PR in the marathon. Good morning, Sunday Sugar. Hey, that was great company for somebody while they cleaned their house and did laundry. Well, thank you, Daly. Thank you. But anyway, it's Sunday morning. Wow, we just had a huge upswell of people. We got 125 people watching. 125 people watching. I'd feel bad signing off. Hey, 125 people watching. Why don't you subscribe to my page? I go live every morning and I post a lot of videos and I have a lot of fun doing it. And my page grows a little bit every day. And enjoy the heck out of doing it. And hopefully it provides some value. So if anybody new is out there, please follow my page. Which marathon was that? Well, I have run the Boston Marathon, and I have run the Chicago Marathon, and I believe those are the only two I've run the Chicago a bunch because I live in Chicago or near Chicago or lived in Chicago, and I did go to the Boston Marathon and run in 1996, which was the 100th Boston Marathon, and I don't know, yeah. So. Ken's got some serious lore. I don't know what that means. But if it's serious lore, it's got to be the best kind of lore. But anyway, a little more coffee. So it's Sunday morning. Still dark out outside. I get to go to work in 4 hours. I'm hoping to go to the shoe store before work to buy myself a new pair of shoes to be gentle on my feet. To be gentle on my feet. Jamie asks, have I ever thought about starting a legit podcast? Again, nobody has ever told me why I would do that. And why isn't this a legit podcast? A podcast is where one talks to an audience. I'm certainly talking to an audience right now. Certainly talking to an audience right now. And I've said this before, I don't know why I go, hey, everybody, I'm going to go over to some podcast. Follow me over there when you guys are already here. And there's 150 million Americans on TikTok. So the eyeballs are already on this platform. The eyes are already on this platform. So I don't know why I'd go to a different platform and try and grow an audience over there when, you know, I've got 64 people watching at 6 o'clock on a Sunday morning. And the capability to touch so many more people. And a platform that's growing and paying me. Amy says, because then people can listen whenever. Well, they can. They can follow me on YouTube. I post all these videos on YouTube. And if they want to listen to me whenever, they can. All of these videos are posted on YouTube. And that audience is growing as well. Yeah. So, yeah. No, I'm not going to make a muscle. I'm not going to make a muscle. I was working out very regularly for the last year and change. And I feel really good because I'm 56 and I think I'm in pretty good shape. But I was joking with my buddy because I dropped out I quit Planet Fitness a few weeks ago. Because they talked, I grunted. I was going, well, I was curling and somebody spoke to me and I was offended. So I left the gym, canceled my membership. But I haven't joined one back. And I may just try and get into a soft, pudgy little fatness for a little while. And then start working out again. Maybe not. Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll keep working out and not let myself get soft. But it's been a little hard staying in the extended stay and waiting tables and eating healthy and working out. And I mean, it's been a little tricky for me. It's been a little tricky for me. We got 317 people hopping on. Thank you so much. Hey, 319 people. I go live every morning. I've heard I have great energy. So if you want to see me live tomorrow, subscribe to my page, follow my page, like my videos. I have a ton of fun doing this, and my audience grows a little bit every day. And honestly, Coffee with Ken found me. I didn't plan to be a content creator. I didn't plan to be a content creator. I was just a guy needing to talk 5.5 years ago. And started talking and did it live on a different social media platform. And people started watching and going, wow, I love what you say. You're vulnerable. I relate. I connect. And it felt really good. And here I am 5.5 years later and still doing my show every morning and hopefully still making a difference. So. Again, it's Sunday morning. I want to thank you guys so much for joining today, especially going early with me today. I appreciate you guys for hopping on and following along in my journey. And I hope your weekend is going well. I hope you had a great night's sleep last night. I hope you are loving yourself. I hope you are forgiving yourself. And as always, I hope to talk to you soon. Bye-bye.